So welcome to this meeting of the Cemetery Board. I'm Dan Shapiro. I'm Secretary of State, Jason Morales is Deputy Chair.
I'm Christopher Wiles, and I'm here for the Attorney General Schneiderman.
Bob Welch, Commissioner's Designee for Rob Schott, Department of Health.
Louis Mulch, Director of the Division of Cemeteries.
Chuck Buckwitz, Assistant Director of the Cemetery.
Glenn Green, Investigator, Division of Cemeteries.
Joe Ambrose, Associate Accountant, Division of Cemeteries.
Tony Melillo, Counsel to the Cemetery Board.
Great. So we have a relatively light-looking agenda, however, some really interesting issues, I think. So let's see how that develops. But before getting there, why don't we take a look at the minutes? Anybody comments, concerns, changes? Not even a period, no grammaticals, no nothing. Susie's not here to say congratulations to, but congratulations. Can I have a motion?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Mr. Melillo, legislation or regulation?
Nothing new on legislation. With regard to regulation, the response to comments on the cemeteries.
Yeah, forget that cemetery.
Forget that. We're still reviewing suggestions to our draft financial regs. We just got comments from Pylon yesterday, so we're going to meet on that, and we're going to meet with the concerned parties to
I think that would be good. There's absolutely no reason in my mind that we have to go into this rulemaking with any disagreement whatsoever. So I'd be happy to participate or help iron things out, and we'll have a unified approach to the rulemaking. It's good for everybody. Yeah, okay, good. So you can schedule that when it's necessary?
I will.
Vision. Phyllis. Or check. Anything to say? Proposed changes to rules and regs? I don't think you need to talk about that since we're still.
No, I think, we'll just look to work with legal counsel. Okay.
Anything else? No? You don't have to.
Nothing's jumping off the page.
All right. Very good. Well, then we'll go right to vandalism.
Oh, so it's still me.
Still you, sorry. Didn't get off the hook yet.
Yeah. Yes, for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2014, vandalism fees collected were $33,577. Actually, once we mail out the annual reports for 2015, the annual reports along with vandalism assessments will be received mostly between the months of January and March 15th. So, applications granted were $489,903. Applications pending are $802,948. Of the granted applications, 5 were for vandalism for $58,665. 20 applications were for restoration, totaling $379,091. And 2 applications were for abandoned cemeteries, totaling $52,147.
Yeah, it's almost anomalous in the sense that I would have thought abandonment would have been the high figure, but it's really the dangerous monuments.
Yes, correct.
Of the pending claims, abandonment is.
It is, okay. Okay.
I do have an update for you
Oh,
on,
sure.
the board tabled the application, a vandalism application from Greenbush Cemetery at the last meeting, for 2 reasons. If I recall, for 2 reasons. One was the application covered things such as replacing stained glass, which wasn't here, where there were.
That was too like a cemetery-owned building.
Right. This is an unusual vandalism claim in that the property vandalized belonged to the cemetery and not to a lot of who's a chapel owned by the cemetery. So 2 things happened. One is that there are certain things, stained glass and such, which is not clear whether the fund should appropriately be paying for. It's not clear one way or another. The second issue, and the more important issue, is that because this is a cemetery-owned building, their insurance really ought to pick it up. And maybe they'll have a deductible to make it up. But they have not, as of yesterday when I spoke to the investigator, gotten back to us as to what their insurance has said.
Okay, that's important.
So
There may be a deductible of 500. I talked to her, and they've contacted the insurance companies, the claims adjusters coming out to have a look, and then he will tell them whether or not it's covered at that point, and if it is covered, there will be a $500 deductible.
That's a lot more fiscally prudent for cemetery board than otherwise we pay. That's very good.
And it doesn't cost the cemetery a dime more.
That's right. That's very good. Okay, yeah, and actually that probably should have been reflected here as a pending one that's been tabled on the agenda. That's totally slipped my mind. But, that's still pending. That's fine. Was there anything else though? No?
No, I mean, we're actually going out into the field to look at the abandoned claims pretty soon. Dates on those. That's big ticket items.
Yep.
I want to see it personally.
Part of your education. That's great. Thank you.
Which cemetery is that, pending thing with the glass?
Green Ridge Cemetery, Saratoga, right line?
Saratoga. And they have apprehended the vandals.
Oh, really?
One family has been ordered to pay restitution of $1,500 that they're expected to receive by April. The other two have no means. So perhaps they can apply at least $500 if they've received the $1,500 towards the deductible. If the insurance will cover the cost of the stained glass.
Do you know how old the?
They're young. They're all three. I think one is 16. The other two are like 13 or 14. So.
Yeah, maybe their community service will be fixing the chapel.
They could take a course in stained glass okay. Highland Cemetery, cell tower. All right, I know Joanne is here, but before that, Tony, could you give an assessment of where we are in this?
This is a very unusual one. There's an existing cell tower with, it looks like 4 or 5 leases, and each lease provides the cemetery income between $1,500 and $2,000 a month. And what this arrangement is to basically give an easement to a third party to take over management of that property, take over the leases, receive the monthly leases, and make a lump sum payment to the cemetery of about $1 million. It's a 40-year arrangement, right? 40-year easement.
Now, the cemetery is currently getting $111,000 a year, and it is noted that there are vagaries with respect to how long that kind of income stream continues.
Right.
Technology changes and all that, so they're trading admittedly potential future money earning for a very healthy upfront payment, which may well be fine. But my first and foremost issue here is that I just took a look, I know you did, Chad had, at the easement itself. It seems to provide unrestricted authority to the lessee to amend the property, right, to suit its needs, irrespective of cemetery board jurisdiction, irrespective of the cemetery's control, the cemetery conceived involved. That I think is first problem. Well, that's a problem. First, before we get to it, I actually want to hear from the division as to whether or not this makes sense fiscally, right, the cemetery. But why don't we do that first? I went out of order, I'm sorry.
No, I think it does make sense fiscally, the cemetery. They're trying to protect their benefit from having the cell tower. Cemetery representative indicated that because of changes within the industry, there's a consolidation, so some of the tenants, if you will, on the cell tower may be lost or merge with other tenants, decreasing the amount of monthly revenue received by having cell tower there. So I guess they've done their analyses and some homework, and this is what they propose.
So
Division doesn't have any objection.
Yeah, I didn't bring it with me, but I noticed that there's a lot of uses the money can be put to pay off outstanding loans, etc. And I didn't understand something in the trust fund liability section. What does it mean? I just don't know what it means. It says PM liability balance, we talked about that.
Yes.
I see an outstanding loan of $53,000. But why is that a liability balance? What does that mean?
The liability, the division used that term to suggest that, to state what minimum is required by statute. In other words, if the cemetery puts in 10% of their lot sale, they sold $100,000 in lot, there should be a minimum of $10,000 in the front of maintenance. That's the liability. We compare that to actual assets in investment accounts. It should be in savings, money markets,
Right.
or other financial investments that total at least $10,000 or more.
All right, so
So we
this
compare liability to the assets.
$353,000, that's reflected as the PM liability balance.
Correct.
What is that a negative? Is that
No.
what should be in the fund, but it's
No,
not? No, that's what's in the fund.
What's in the fund are total assets of $361,000.
Because you're adding in the 8,000.
No, the 8,000 is the surplus. That's what the accounts exceed the liability by. And the surplus is generally interest and dividends.
I guess all I need to know is there's 361,000 in PM fund.
Yes.
And,
correct.
and the cemetery owes the PM fund 50,000.
Correct.
And that's it.
That
And
is
there's no more, there's nothing else that is essentially a loan or a lien or whatever on the fund. There's nothing else.
correct.
Okay. All right. I don't understand. I got it. I don't need to understand.
I'm
Hey,
sure- yeah.
all right. So, the 15%, I noted in the paperwork, that at one point there was negotiated 15% of lot sales to be contributed to the fund, right?
Yes.
But that hasn't been made since 2008. And was that part of I'm sure that the cemetery board, I'm not sure, but I would think the cemetery board approved that or said okay, and the division said okay. Is that right?
Right.
What's the story on that?
I haven't looked into that specifically.
Okay, because if it's part of an existing PM loan agreement which was ratified by the court, that's something that we can address. I mean, obviously the divisions have been aware of this and has acquiesced. But if there's an outstanding order, we probably ought to take care of that. But you can do a little more homework on that if you would. All right, so the division is content that this is a good deal.
Yes.
That's the bottom line. All right, so now we can get to the nature of the easement. Cemetery of the Highlands is here. Hi. Why don't you tell us about this? Tell us about at least what your negotiations with the potential lessee involved, whether or not. What does this easement mean? In a second?
Basically, it doesn't. And our attorney is on exactly what you were discussing before about this 40-year and what's after these leases expire. The maximum one is about 22 years away. What's going to happen to the property, and he's changing it.
Okay.
We're gaining control of that. This came to be. Sprint and Nextel merged about 3 years ago, and they're both co-locators on this tower. So we knew we were going to be losing Sprint's income, which is $1,751 a month. T-Mobile has now started the proceedings to merge with Metro PCS. Metro PCS, they actually have an antenna on the tower, but they're not using any ground space from us, so we don't have a ground lease. They're actually piggybacked onto Sprint's equipment. T-Mobile is going to be giving up their space and going on to Metro. So that's a second rental income we're going to lose.
Right.
We were approached by Crown Castle, which owns the tower at this point, about extending the lease for 20 or 30 years. And at that time, we said wanted to just buy the property, and they weren't interested in that. The trying to go through the municipality and have it subdivided was not financially a good decision. So then we talked about purchasing the ground leases, and all of a sudden people just came out of the woodwork. And we did a complete analysis, and 1.4 million with a sign-on bonus of 5,000 to cover our legal expenses is the top number. What we would like to do is retire the PM loan, and we also have a approximately $72,000 note from our local bank, which was taken out 7 years ago. It's a 10-year note, and that has allowed us to build the building, pave the roads, put in water lines, so on and so forth, and start an expansion. So we'd like to retire those two notes. And the third thing we'd like to do is complete the expansion, which was approved by this board back in 2005. I don't have prices on that yet. Some good things have happened for us in the last 2 weeks. A local contracting company wants to come in and do some work for us for free, and we like that. So at this point, we'd like to retire those notes and then come back to the board with the proposals to complete the expansion, which will give us 1,100 graves. That's good for the next probably 20, 30 years in our cemetery.
It sounds good. You mentioned something that I forget where the cell tower is located in relationship to the cemetery.
It's all the way in the back north corner.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, it's visible. I have never had, I take people around, show them graves all the time, and until I point it out, they're just not noticing it.
Yeah, we did the picture with the little ball on it.
Yeah.
That one, right?
Mhm.
I remember that. It just, the concern, it's the same concern, and he didn't go for it, they're not taking it too simple, so that's not the issue, but the major concern that I had looking at that was the lessee would have really, at least on the paper, all right? I don't know how it works with cemetery board jurisdiction, all right? I suspect that it's almost void in a sense, but the paper has pretty much unconditional right to do whatever the heck it pleases with that little piece
Which
of
is
property.
what we're changing. The
But
terms
that-
like,
and that-
this is a
that can't-
standard lease that they give
Right,
out
so
to
they're
everybody.
negotiating that, that's, all right.
Yeah, but that's unacceptable to us.
Right, I would be sure to include, subject to the jurisdiction of the cemetery board as well,
Yeah.
joint innovation stuff, all that good stuff. And, so that's pending, so, I think we need to see, that documentation, but this looks like a very good deal, right, Division?
Yes.
You've done all your homework on this, you absolutely did.
Well, I made a note to look back at the additional PM addition to it.
So do you wanna just table this for the consideration of the, yeah?
Just one request, we're on a time frame here. These companies are not, they originally wanted a 30-day closing. I asked this board's permission, when we have the lease agreeable to us, to maybe send it to Tony,
I was gonna suggest that
because
happen.
I don't wanna lose the deal.
Okay, I absolutely hear that.
It's
And
been a lot of work.
Tony will be happy to opine and make suggestions if in fact suggestions are necessary.
Well, that's why my attorney was holding off until tomorrow or this afternoon when I get in touch with him, because if there's something you wanna see in there, I don't wanna negotiate this and then come back and have
Yeah.
this board say, no, we don't like this.
In fact, Tony and your attorney can talk, anytime.
Actually, we have a writer that we use on other cell tower agreements, and in fact, maybe some of your agreements have this writer, or that addresses the major renovation issues and other issues. I'll forward you a copy of the writer, so you can share with your attorney.
He's been great, throughout this whole, since we installed this tower, every single one of these co-located leases has a stipulation in there that the cemetery gets returned to its original condition. In fact, Nextel, who went offline as of June, and it's not included in this proposal, we're still getting that $1,751 a month, because they have to pay until their equipment is removed. It was a really good addition. In fact, they called and said, we'd like to donate to you. We want to make this contribution, get it out of here. We don't want it. So that's probably going to be at least another 6 months, and we purposely didn't include it in the lease because that should be the cemetery's money. Why should the tower go in it?
I do have another question, which is, When we reviewed the original cell tower lease, did we place any restrictions on the cemetery's use of those funds?
It was supposed to be, everything put into the permanent maintenance account. However, when we took out the 10-year note, we came back to the board and asked if we can use it as collateral to secure that loan, and $3,755 a month pays that loan. That's another reason why it has to be retired.
So your proposed use of the reason I bring that up, your proposed use of the 1.4 million is an expansion of what was permitted of the lease payments in the underlying. So I think the board just needs to be aware of that. Make sure the board's okay with that. The underlying monthly lease payments are restricted to the end fund. The 1.4 million is being proposed to go beyond that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess it depends on how you look at it. 126,000 would go to pay off those two notes.
All right.
And then an additional, I can't even, until this company comes back to us, I can't even give you a number. I'm thinking maybe between 100 and 125. And then the balance would get put into PM. We have no problem with that.
Any questions? Further discussion? Okay. Why don't we put this on for next month? I anticipate I'm hoping that we can act on it. We'll have legal backup for it. And we'll rock and roll. Okay?
Just,
Yeah.
there's a month,
It could be a problem, because when is the next
well,
meeting?
that was, we want to entertain a contingent, because if she gets the agreement into Tony, it's good. Is a month too long for you? That's my question.
It probably is. You know, we got it took me like 2 weeks to get our attorney to really get on this as well, so we lost some time there.
All right, let's talk then for just a bit then about the monies that are derived from the sale and purchase of an easement. Are they by law required to go into the PM fund, or is that separate and apart from the sale of a fee simple?
It really depends on how the board interprets this.
But we always interpret it from PMs, you know.
Right. Which is why on the cell tower leases, the board has, I think, been pretty consistent requiring that proceeds go to the fund.
So
that's been viewed as a conveyance of an interest in the property.
okay, so there was some amendment to that section of not-for-profit corporation law at one point. I don't remember what it did. But it doesn't matter. But that's your reading stuff.
Yeah.
So, just for the posture of this thing, because at least personally, I mean, pay off the outstanding loans, do the things you have to do. A huge chunk goes to the PM fund. To me, that sounds just generic. You know, but it may be. You have to structure this so there's going to be an application to the court. You know, one of those kinds of things where they put in and pull out, or if there's sufficient monies. I don't think there are not sufficient. Well, maybe are there sufficient monies in the operating funds? I doubt it. I don't think so. I say
No.
right. But the deal would have to be structured that way. All right. You understand what I'm saying on that?
Let's go in and come out again.
Yeah.
The major renovation for this expansion plan complete has already been approved, so
I'm
it's
talking
just.
about
Right.
the monies. So the monies come in,
Mhm.
all right? They are principal, right? Because you have to make an application to the court, all right? They are put into the PM fund, and then a loan is taken on the PM fund, all right? So it's sort of like an extra step, as opposed to just taking the money, doing what you want with it, and then throwing the balance in the PM fund. So the paperwork has to be done.
So then there'll still be an outstanding loan,
Yes.
which will, you know, that's part of the problem why that 53,000 is still outstanding. It's our monthly expenses. We have trouble making these payments.
Well, we can negotiate the loan. I mean, you know, the payback can be negotiated. I understand the needs of the cemetery, all right? I understand you're just barely breaking even now, right?
Correct.
With this. All right, so there's the world of the possible and the world of the ideal. But the world of the possible is what we're dealing in. And this is, if it's divisions and the board's conclusions is beneficial for the cemetery, and the things you want to do with the money are beneficial, then we need to work it out. But the legal issue is getting the money in and out of the permanent maintenance fund. I mean, it could be that we just negotiate some different payback on the 53,000 outstanding now. You know, I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know. I'm content to leave that to the division and council's office to work out as well. Right, that's what's best for the cemetery. We know that, I think, I hear some agreement that I think the deal is good, so that we can leave the experts over there to work it out. So your suggestion, or conditional grant, I thought of. I think it has to be conditioned on both the approval of council's office with respect to the easement and the legal requirements attended to that, and to the division sign off on the agreed upon fiscal plan within the application to the Supreme Court for taking a loan for the maintenance of the extra easement deposit. I think I just made the motion, didn't I? You did. All right, I just made it.
Second.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay, so still a lot of homework to do.
Right.
Still a lot of homework,
You
but-
know, I don't mind coming back to the board
You won't need
with
to.
what to do with the proceeds, but
You
I'd
won't need
rather
to.
just get
I
it
just-
closed.
I
and
just
get
threw it
the-
all off to those guys.
Great.
You're done with us. We're done with you. Done. Congratulations, I hope it
Thank
goes
you.
well. And looks like, I think you'll be in a much better position than you are now.
That'd be great.
Okay. Forestville Cemetery, Forest Pioneer. This is cemetery takeover. What, anybody want to give us a little thumbnail on this?
I was hoping Mike would be here for these kind of things. So, yeah, excuse me. According to Cindy's memo, I think this is just, there's, symmetry here between two cemeteries. And, where I believe one has some land, the other one has some funds, and it just seems to be a good fit for the cemeteries to merge.
I mean, the one that board is aging out too.
Correct.
Right, that's
Correct.
maybe the major issue.
And so,
And one needs land, right?
That's correct.
One needs burial space, and
Yes.
the other is.
Right.
Yeah.
so it seems that, again, it's a good fit for both of them. It avoids the abandonment of the cemetery that's going to be turned over to the village or the town. And it seems both cemeteries benefit from it.
Is that true? Is that true? That's what I'm interested in. I just wrote down fiscal recitation. Is it true that obviously the cemetery that's being taken over is going to benefit from this?
Correct.
What about the cemetery that's taken over?
I believe they benefit as well. I think that the cemetery that's taking it over
Yeah.
is in need of the space.
It's a need of the space.
Yes.
So what this is they're taking, well, really, the cemetery that they're taking over wasn't operating at a terrible deficit. I mean, they don't have much at the end, right? But they're really, how much space, how much burial space? Taking over cemetery. Okay, great.
I think they obtained,
Oh, thank you.
5 acres. Developed and unsold.
Sorry. As of donors.
Actually, it's the Pioneer Cemetery that is a deed space. Because they only have approximately 1 acre undeveloped. They have approximately 100 graves left to sell.
We're of the opinion that fiscally this can be handled by cemetery.
Correct.
Question?
Is there any incentive from the state to do this? Never been a merger with
You can apply under the statute for funds for takeover methods.
after it's done?
Just like the commons. It's like merging schools.
But, I mean, we've been very much in favor of this. This is, we're avoiding taxpayer liability. The cemetery remains in the cemeterian's hands, not in experience with it. So, it's a matter of policy, favorable to these things.
This is a 2009 statute.
Yep.
Chuck,
Yes.
one of the issues that came up in the last one of these was the cemetery being taken over how PM obligation. Is that the situation?
I'm not aware of any loans, with any.
Good.
Yeah.
Right, that makes it a lot clearer.
Yep.
I thought it looked like a win-win to me.
Okay. One motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. West Hampton, West,
I think council for West Hampton wanted to be able to vote for this, so
sure.
checking. See if we can make this work. I seem to only have one copy of the sale appraisals.
They were on target. With 75.
Hi, Charles Cuddy, please.
I'm sorry, he's with someone right now.
Yeah, he's waiting for us. This is the State Cemetery Board.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Hold on one moment, please.
Thanks. He's with the treasurer of the cemetery.
That's perfect.
Yeah, that's helpful. He arranged for that. I have the, Tony, I also have the petition of sale.
Right, that's good.
So you can approve that conditional. Yes.
Hello, Mr. Cuddy. Hi, this is Dan Shapiro. I'm chair of the cemetery board.
Hi, thank you for calling. I'm here with two members of the cemetery board from the West Hampton Cemetery Association. I'll put you on speaker if I may.
That's great. That's wonderful.
Okay. Oh, can you hear us?
Yes, we can. All right. So, thanks for participating. We're going to need your counsel on this. Can you give us a little thumbnail of what it is that you are attempting to do and why?
Okay, I think I can tell you, but both of the board members also may be able to indicate. They're just trying to replace a property that they really couldn't use, which is a 2-acre parcel. It was a 3-acre parcel. The 2-acre parcel was bought with operating funds, and they want to essentially use monies that they have together with the sale of the existing parcel, so they can acquire the new 3-acre parcel. The town has approved it. The town has helped us, as a matter of fact, the town of Southampton, by changing their zoning code to allow us to do this, and then we got it through one of the local land trusts. So that's what we're trying to do, is just replace A with B.
Right.
But A was really not something that was usable. The town indicated to us that we couldn't really use that one. It was a difficult access. It was near wetlands and preserved property, and they didn't want us to use it. So, knowing that, the town said they would purchase it back for the same price that was originally paid. That's what they did.
Yeah, that was good. I noted in the file that that land is landlocked in a residential area, not suitable for burial at all. You're not going to be able to bury anybody there, so it is a good thing. The land that you're purchasing is fully usable for burial purposes, correct?
Yes.
And that purchase price of that was $435?
$450.
$450, okay. And the sale price of the landlocked land is $185?
$185, yes.
That's good. All right. And board, have we discussed this one in the prior meeting? I mean, before we get into.
No.
Okay. So let's do that. Division, what's your position on this?
I mean, the subject to the legal issue where they're getting money from, the cemetery has, it's not gonna leave them bankrupt. The land is valuable, the amount of revenue that will generate from selling gravestones, of course, well exceeds any of theirs that are paying for it. Vince did the numbers, I don't really know which way, even if we were to estimate it conservatively. And obviously, there's one parcel that's not suitable, one parcel that is suitable.
What would be the, how would you pay for it? You would want to use the 185 that you're getting for the landlocked land, and what else would you use to pay for the acquired property?
We'll let Tom Rogers, who's the treasurer, he's here, probably answer that.
Okay, yes, to come up with the whole 450,000, we have the 185 from the piece of property that we're selling back to the town, and that leaves 265,000. We have 203,000 that we have in a savings account that we're going to use, and then we're going to use 62,000 from the permanent maintenance income fund.
What is the permanent maintenance? That's not the account. What is the permanent maintenance income fund? What is that?
Well, we have the permanent maintenance account that we put all the permanent maintenance funds when we sell property.
Sure.
Money goes in there. Every time we have an interment, money goes in there.
I got that, but I'm not familiar with the income fund.
Income is any of the earnings from that.
Oh, I see. I'm sorry. Okay, so that's the money that you're getting off the permanent maintenance, and that you can take as whatever, as capital gains, whatever it is that you can use for your operating expenses.
Correct.
For cemetery maintenance.
It's supposed to be used for cemetery maintenance. Which this is not.
Income is.
Yeah, that's why. Okay.
Maintenance and preservation.
Say it again, Chet?
Maintenance and preservation, so.
Well, we're gonna, all right, so that's another issue. I'm just noting the issues. So, part of the 62,000 is coming from a fund, which is, at least on paper, is supposed to be used for cemetery maintenance and not for acquisition of property.
Maintenance and preservation, however you find that.
Yeah, it could be a little loose. We have lots of lawyers, you know? Lou's already, I can tell where he's going on this. All right, so.
There's also, since we've got a campaign, they initially proposed an outright grant of $185,000 from the sale.
Yeah, this is the next issue.
To be used for the purchase, but the statute requires on a sale of land that the proceeds of the sale go to the PM fund. So the question is whether that should be a loan rather than a loan from the PM fund. Like that would be right now, so it has to be repaid. And the same issue would apply to the 62, whether that use of income is appropriate or whether that should be a loan.
I think that's similar again to just what we dealt with the cemetery in the Highlands, in the sense that the real nature of this beast is we've got a land swap going on in part, and we've got, which we would, assuming all the fiscals were right, we thought it was a good idea, which we would, in the normal course of business, approve, but we have a statutory requisite which we respect, we have to respect. That goes in the PM fund, and you don't get grants from the PM fund, you get loans. All right. Now, what the terms of those loans are negotiable. All right. And notwithstanding that, still must be approved by the court.
And we did have a situation not long ago where, similar to this, you had cemetery selling land and buying land to the same buyer. The buyer would not sell the land without buying the other land. The board and that transaction actually netted cemetery money.
Mm-hmm.
So, just to throw an example, the land that they bought was $100,000, the land they sold was $200,000, they net 100. What the board did there was, instead of having a full 200,000 of the sale posited into the income, they allowed, as it was used as a single transaction, the net proceeds, 100,000 out the cemetery. So it wasn't viewed as
So
two
we didn't
transactions,
do
it was
that,
viewed as
but we
one
didn't,
transaction.
yeah, we didn't do that on application four, right? Well, we did for the, well, for the purchase of the land, but we didn't have them make a PM. We didn't go through that because of the unified transaction, it wasn't viewed as, the sale of property.
It was viewed as the
It was
sale,
viewed as the purchase
but
in its totality.
It was viewed as the proceeds from the sale, instead of the full 200,000 that they got for that lot, the board decided that the net proceeds,
Yeah, right.
after the expense of the purchase,
But the paperwork that went,
what would have to go into the account.
philosophically, the paperwork that went to the court, did it provide for a deposit in the PM fund and a pulling out, and this is, you know.
There was
we had
no
to-
loan necessary because
Exactly.
The sale exceeded the purchase.
That's my point. It was treated as a single transaction.
Right.
It was treated as a single transaction
Right.
and not the purchase of, and not the sale of property.
Right.
All right, so we found that it wasn't necessary, that law didn't apply to that, essentially. And it was for the benefit of the cemetery, a fiscal concern of the board that the money was deposited in the PM. So now the question is, we don't have the same seller and buyer.
Although this would be, the land trust is selling, I mean, the land trust in the town, this is part of an arrangement between the two of them, isn't it?
That's correct.
Because there's more pieces moving than your piece of this.
So is there a way to structure this? Because look, actually, I feel like we're jumping a little bit, but we might as well deal with this now. Is there a way to structure this if we're in favor, all right, that we have the same unity of transaction, if you will, that get to that point without going through the mechanization of creating a permanent maintenance loan, which in fact is going to have very little payback or expectation of payback.
See, Dan, the problem for them is to do that formally, either the town is gonna have to buy something it wasn't buying or sell something it wasn't selling. I mean, the town's gonna have to get involved in this, and you'll just be replacing our bureaucracy, their bureaucracy.
I don't mean.
Oh, you didn't mean actually conveying title.
No, I don't mean to, I'm saying how can we, if we can, how can we get to a point, if we can get to a point, you have 5 different moving pieces where this can be viewed as a single transaction, much like the one that Tony described.
Could you give us a little bit of background on exactly what the other, I know you told me this, and I don't remember the details. What else is being done? Like, what else is the land trust selling? What else is the town doing? There's a whole thing going on here, right?
The land trust was assisting the cemetery association in locating the parcel at the behest of the town. Land trust works very closely with the local town governments, and that's how they got into it. They're working on this parcel, on the 3-acre parcel. The adjoining parcel, which is 27 acres, is being actually purchased as preservation property by the county of Suffolk. So it's a 30-acre piece. We're getting 3 acres out of that. I think you were correct before when you said basically this is an exchange, because we're going from the parcel that's A, the old unacceptable parcel, to the new one. And we're using, don't forget, the parcel that was previously purchased was purchased from operating funds. That was $185,000. So we depleted our operating account at that point, and we're just really getting back the money that we had used from the operating account.
Yeah, it looks to me like a single transaction. And the party here that's really in charge is the land trust. They're the ones making the deal.
The legal linchpin for that last transaction was that the purchase would not be happening without the sale. So I suppose if that's the case here, you might have distinct but related entities. If the land trust would not be purchasing property sale from the town. And then I suppose you have that argument that it's a single transaction. Right?
Well, is that something that can be structured? We want to make this permanent maintenance. All right, loan. Seems to be, it's very highly technical, but these, look, everybody here understands these are related transactions. All right, so I don't feel as though this is a manipulation. It's, we're trying to get to the result which is intended.
I guess the only concern I have, which is not the legal, I get to not play the lawyer here, so
I don't know
makes
if that's
that easy
possible.
for me. I can pretend not to be the lawyer. The concern, the division, I guess, would have, and we were comfortable with this, but I just want to reiterate is, what kind of cash are you going to have at the end of the day with this?
Want to know how much cash we have remaining?
Yeah, because you're using your whole operating account.
No, we're not. We still have the 28,000 in our other operating account number 2.
Right.
That's available.
And what are your annual expenses? Ballpark.
Last year, our annual expenses were $80,720, and the income was $83,749.
So you're just about breaking even.
Yes.
And has that been true in past years?
Yes. The year before, we had income of $273,000 and expenses of $276,000, but it was actually included a $200,000 donation that we had received, which is actually part of the money that we're using for this purchase. So you take that out, it was $73,000 and $76,000 expenses.
That's what I seem to recall, is that you had a donation that was specifically for this transaction. So you've basically been, I mean, if they have a history of breaking even, and they still have 28 grand in the bank, and how many interments do you do annual, last year and the year before?
Approximately 30.
At a price of?
$1,100.
Gee, then that's that the number isn't constrained by the amount of land you have now, right?
That's correct. We're running out of space. We only have about 50 more graves that we can sell.
So it hasn't been, but it's about to be. So
Yeah.
you would,
There's no question.
so they can, right, so what I'm getting at is that you're not going to have, absent something extraordinary, you shouldn't have to empty your bank account next year just to make ends meet. Plus, you're not gonna have that revenue stream but for this transaction.
That's correct.
In that case, I think we're comfortable with it.
That was well put, Phyllis.
I mean, I'd rather they keep more money in the bank, but it seems like they're better off, far better off doing this and spending the money than not spending the money and having stock.
Mr. Cuddy, what's your time issues on this, if any?
It's close. Everyone had anticipated, everybody being the owner of the large parcel, dealing with the county, plus the land trust, had hoped to have this done by the end of December. They know that that's going to be a pretty close call at this point, but that's what they were looking for. Because we've been doing this for a fair period of time. I was in it for a while, but it started a long time before I got into it.
No, well, let me open it up. Questions? Concerns? You don't have much of a fiscal, but that was a good presentation from Lewis.
And Vince Gimondo has gone through the numbers and he was comfortable with the transaction from a fiscal perspective. So I would, why Vince, the same division, is comfortable with it, he is.
Yeah, and the cemetery appears to, your lot prices are about $3,000 per lot.
1,100.
It ranges, depending on location, from $1,750 to $20,000. 2,500.
Okay, because I just saw that in what was submitted was that, the 3 acres, estimated about 1,000 burials per acre would garner some $9 million overall.
Yeah, they're running out of land, they're running out of space.
But the lot prices.
Right.
And Vince took a conservative approach there. I think he ran the numbers at 700.
The issue to me is that this is a cemetery that's very close to having to live off internments, and funds, and it'll be a decline if they don't get some land. So I'm very comfortable with the goal here. Now I'm not so sanguine yet with how you get there. But before we get there, I want how do you guys feel about this?
I don't, I'm not so concerned about the numbers. I think they need the land, and I think it's a good deal. I mean, it's well substantiated.
Yeah.
I think it's a step that they have to take, so I would go into the future.
All right, so then the question is how do we effectuate this? I'm pretty comfortable actually with creating a mechanism that if you will, links these transactions such that we feel comfortable moving forward without the PM deposit. I think it's crazy to have the statute apply to this situation, and we have precedent for having departed from that before, and I think we can do that again. Assuming we can do that, I'll leave that to worthwhile counsel to figure out. But assuming we can do that, we still have the issue of the $62,000. That's coming out of the cemetery maintenance fund, and that fund statutorily is restricted to cemetery maintenance and improvement. Now, is buying is expanding your potential for burial improvement?
My reading of that statute is it's intended for maintenance and preservation of existing land. I don't think the statute was intended that. I think the statute was set up intended to use for purchase.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
From the division's perspective, having come up with the idea that this could be preservation, I trust these guys. I don't like the precedent of buying land preservation.
I don't think we can go there either. I raised it, but I don't think we can go there. But then the question is, what's to be done?
Wait a minute. Why isn't it preservation if they need this property to preserve themselves?
It's preservation of land or preservation of the cemetery?
Preservation of the cemetery.
Right. I don't think that's what the statute
What's the
intended.
statute
I think the
say?
Let's
statute.
actually look at it.
How about that?
I mean, the other question is, I think they could still apply for a loan against that.
Yes.
Just like they could against the
Right.
PM.
They can borrow
And a
it.
$62,000 loan doesn't scare me as much for the cemeteries at $185 plus $62,000 loan.
Correct. That's where we would be.
Okay.
Especially because you have some flexibility as to what terms they could write.
Yeah.
Make it very long term.
Right. So for
Or you could find donors for that money.
Yeah, actually, just so we're clear, the phrase is the income. The income in the form of interest and ordinary dividends therefrom shall be used solely for the maintenance and preservation of the cemetery grounds.
Grounds.
Well, the land is grounds.
You can't preserve the cemetery grounds in this particular tax situation without this additional land because they don't have enough land for the grade. I mean, I think you interpret the meaning now.
I think this is the Attorney General's office,
I think you
right?
interpret the meaning from the particular fact situation that's in front of us.
Okay, I'm less uncomfortable. The division's less uncomfortable with this if you're really gonna narrow that interpretation of these facts. Because here it does make sense.
Law of the case.
Yeah. Like Bush v. Gore, this precedent will not be good for anything else other than this case.
Well, what do you think, Bob?
As I said, you know, I think, they gotta do something if they're not staying.
Yeah, there's no question they're gonna move. There's no question we're gonna do something for you, get this off our table. The question is, how? And, if we don't have to do gyrations around the language of cemetery maintenance, I prefer that. If there's an easy way, if we can do a permanent maintenance loan and move the monies around, I think that would be preferable, just so we don't, at least at the board level, create a path that we might regret later.
Well, can they amend their application orally now to add, assuming they're okay with this, I'll get to you guys in a second, to add, to structure the 62 grand as a loan against that income fund?
We can my motion will encompass all that.
And then Joe Ambrose, our chief accountant, suggests that if you put this out over the long term, then it shouldn't really be a big deal for you guys. I guess you have to talk, make sure you're okay with doing it that way.
They'll still have the 62,000.
Right.
All right, and that 62,000, I imagine, will get spent, especially when they're improving this new property. All right, and to the extent that they spend that, perhaps they can contribute more to the permanent maintenance fund to repay the loan. I mean, this could be structured, you know. So, with that in mind, having any other conversation?
I'd like to hear from these guys, make sure.
Yeah. Oh, what a good point. Yeah.
This is Tom Rogers. Couple things I wanted to mention. The income fund that we have is about $145,000, and we wanted to use $62,000.
Right.
We've never used that income fund for maintenance. We haven't had to.
You've just been reinvesting it?
Yes.
Well, I guess you won't do that again.
Well, how do
If
you...
we were to take a loan for the $62,000, we could pay it back by using, paying our maintenance costs out of funds and out of our regular operating funds, and that would be paying back this $62,000.
Well, let me ask you this. Can the court, Tony, if an application is made to the court to take $62,000 directly from the maintenance fund, the court condones that. Does that pass muster?
If it was as a grant rather than a loan?
Yeah.
They can only do that if they can demonstrate an inability to repay the loan. And, I'm not sure what the Supreme Court would want as proof.
Yeah. I can't put it before the court for cemetery maintenance just to convert that, because that's sort of like what happened with that stuff.
Can I ask Mr. Rogers?
Yes.
How much do you pay annually in maintenance? What does it cost?
Let's see, last year.
I'm just going to get there.
It's about $2,000 a month, so that's around, say, $25,000.
So that you can take that money.
Spend it down and take the other and pay back the loan.
Yes. Yeah. You just pay that from here after out of the income of the PM.
Okay.
And then pay what you have been paying out of your general funds for maintenance. Pay that as a repayment of the $62,000. So now you're paying the $62,000 at $24,000 a year. 3 years, you're done.
Okay, we can do that.
All right. So motion.
Wait.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Are we clear what we just moved?
Yeah, we did.
So the transaction is approved, subject to then doing the loan we just discussed for the $62,000, and the rest of it's all
And
financed.
it's conditioned on council's review of the transaction to meet the requirements for unity of transactions. Okay.
Right, I think, Tony, did you have any comments on the petition itself that might have to be modified?
Well, now that there's a PM fund loan, that has to be disclosed to the court. There's no deposit of the, if this is a unity of transaction, there's no deposit on the $185,000, so that doesn't need to go into the paper. So I think we're going to be okay.
And Mr. Cuddy, have you spoken with Tony before on this? But all I'm suggesting is that you two can certainly chat in the development of the papers to make sure that we're on all fours.
You can loop me into if you want to.
Yeah.
Or I can put us all together.
But as of now, we just have to arrange for this loan. You need something from us to show that?
Yeah, well, I'll discuss to you how it needs to be reflected in the papers you'll file for.
Okay?
Very good.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care now.
These two.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's part of the
Yeah.
package. That was our
They were fine.
mission.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that was good.
The problem is that the papers got all jumbled.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so we have one more, right?
So I was tempted to send that back, but.
Two more.
Got off the.
Yeah, Valley View and Locust Valley still.
I thought it was gonna be shorter than this, my goodness. All right. Valley View is a consent.
Value is a merger.
Yeah. And it's here.
Can you bring the form for the board to sign?
I did actually state
One.
in my policy.
That's okay.
And we had previously opined on Valley View, is that right?
It's
Yeah.
been here before.
Right.
They needed to amend their papers. Division of Corporations, so Eric's, they've now.
That division of corporations,
They're tough.
I tell you what.
I don't want to deal with that.
My former home.
So the statute,
Yeah, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah.
So did they fix it?
yes. So the statute does require that the cemetery board approve the merger certificate and approve the filing of it, and we have here.
That's acceptable. That's great. It's a consent, any new corporate entity must have the consent of the cemetery board before the division of corporations can accept it for filing. And this is it. Okay, fine. There's nothing to move on with. Right. Yeah, we'll just do it.
I think there ought to be a verbal motion.
All right, I motion to approve.
Aye.
You know, I'm hogging the motions tonight. I'm gonna have to stop that.
Locust Valley.
I'm not doing this one. Locust Valley, Nassau County. Locust Valley,
They'll be
We're gonna
represented
get
here
the
by
attorney
phone,
here, right?
are they,
What's the
I'll get them
number?
on the phone.
Is,
Our phone, we only call Long Island by phone, by the way, just like the record
Yes,
reflect.
that's right. It's a great way to do business.
yeah, we'll take it.
Don't put a date on
Yes.
Morning, Mr. Wagner.
Hi, Peter Colgrove, please.
Who's calling?
It's the New York State Cemetery Board.
Hold on, please.
Thanks.
Hello?
Hi there. This is Dan Shapiro, Chair of the Cemetery Board.
Hi, Dan.
How are you doing?
Very good, you?
Good, thank you. So we're all here, and we've just come to Locust Valley in the agenda. So we are very familiar with the situation you find yourself in, having approved the deal, subject to that pesky little statute.
Yes.
And so now you're back before us saying, and correct me if I'm wrong, hey, we would like to protect this property pending what perhaps will be a legislative change. So can the board view this as an investment? You'll take a PM loan of $1 million, and that way we'll lock the property up, so when we get this done, we'll have burial space.
Basically, yes, but we will no longer need to borrow the money, so we'll be a strictly a cash deal.
Oh, okay. Where's that money coming from?
We have sufficient funds. We have about $1.6 million in our bank account, and in our general fund, we have about $700,000. We have about $2.3 million in liquid assets, which we would use because we owe $1 million in the purchase. So we will not, even if we've gone to buy the property for cemetery purposes, we probably would not have borrowed the entire $1 million, if at all. So there's been a change basically in the last year that we've had a very successful, sales year. We sold a couple of mausoleums, so our cash position right now is quite strong.
Oh, that's good. Has the division, have you looked over the numbers on this?
I want to send it to Lewis on this.
I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Because here's what I'm gonna get to. So, there's two things going on. If it really were a flat-out investment, $1 million for a $55,000 return, because I think that's the annual return?
Yeah, neighboring property is very similar. It's being rented out for $4,600 a month or whatever, so about $55,000. And we did, I don't know if you received it, I sent to Tony yesterday, we did receive a letter from a broker, just, in his opinion, that, property values are not going down in this area. So if we are unsuccessful, it's a legislative change, then we could sell the property in a couple of years.
What would be the sale price, do you think? At least that?
Oh, yeah, no, based on the letter from the broker, the prices are going up there, so, we certainly expect to sell it for at least a sales price, or if not a small profit.
Right, because as a straight investment, a 20-year return or so is not the best investment. That's
no, but under the circumstances, Bob Malik, he did a great job, great to work with. His memorandum of law really brought forth some of the old legislative history, and the governor, basically he said when he signed the law back in 1917 or whenever it was, kind of like the land, in Nassau should be for the living and us for the dead. Well, I think, things have kind of changed since then, and I don't think there's, a real concern that there's going to be, massive cemeteries in Nassau County. You're probably going to have a couple acres here and there, so I think the rationale for back then is no longer in play, but
yeah,
that's our hope.
I don't disagree at all. Board,
Well, I stand with Mr. Malik.
You AG people are all,
We've had a lot of discussion.
You did you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think the potential issues that could happen to the cemetery are huge on this. We really did like, the deal. We felt constrained by the statute. We had to put it out to Bob's conservation, I think. But I think if they can lock it up, it's a good thing. They have the resources to do that, right, Jeff?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Financials look good.
Originally, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, for the division, in this case, I'm fine with it. In general, I'd rather see an appraisal and not a broker's price opinion. But in this
We had
case,
appraisals.
No, we had an appraisal.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because we approved it based on appraisals.
Right. We had two
So the
appraisals.
broker's price opinion is really just an update to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
That's
Tony
fine.
just
It's
asked,
more for
we
future.
had two
That's
amendments
fine.
done with
Yeah.
the original petition, and Tony thought, at this point, it'd be good to have something from a broker to just, and this broker.
Okay, I didn't know the
Yeah,
history,
this was actually an abundance of caution, so that we had enough to move on, so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think an appraiser would tell you what it'd be worth in 5 years anyway.
You'd probably say, your market trends are going up, and he would tell you what.
All right, any further discussion? Anybody want a motion? All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right, so we're all in favor, you're done.
All right, thank you so much. If, one more favor, please, if Chet or somebody could send me a letter just confirming that, because Bob and I and Tony, Bob said that Tony were working on a stipulation.
Yeah.
In the court, when we met with him at the conference 2 weeks ago, he said, you get me the stipulation, I'll come in and sign it, so that would be great if you could get something to me in the next day or
Well,
two.
this letter, I previously sent a letter initially to Bob Malik, and that indicated that there was a PM loan, but there's no PM loan.
No, this is a letter showing, I think Tony can do it, this is a letter just showing the action of the board. So we'll give you the motion, we'll give you and we'll give you the,
And do you
vote
want,
and all that good stuff.
Okay, very good.
and do we need to sign the stipulation, or is the letter going to be good enough?
No, Bob will sign the stipulation.
Bob will sign the
For you
stipulation
guys,
as our
and I'll sign it
attorney.
to the cemetery, and then we'll file it with the court, and close order, we'll talk about buying the property only for non-cemetery purposes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Tony will get that to you,
I
perhaps.
just want to pass on that, is the new division of cemetery director there?
Yep, I'm here.
Hi, Peter Colgrove again. Larry Glenn, our chairman, had said to me a couple of weeks ago, we'd love to come on in and introduce ourselves and say hello. Notwithstanding this little glitch here on, the purchase of the property, we've enjoyed a very strong relationship with the Division of Cemeteries. And you guys are great regulators. Rich Fishman, I can't say enough good things about how helpful he was over the years, and we'd like to come in and meet with you sometime after the holidays and say hello.
Okay, but I'd actually probably rather come meet with you out there.
Sure, that'd be great too. We'd love to show you the cemetery.
I've been to Locust Valley Cemetery many times, actually. It's an absolutely gorgeous cemetery, by the way.
Thank you.
Maybe uniquely gorgeous in the state, in its own way. Yeah. Yeah, you should go out there.
We'd love to have you.
Great.
Okay, well, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Bye-bye. It's in Locust Valley, Long Island.
The Gold Coast.
Yeah, right by Seacliff and,
Vince lives in Sequoia.
taking the shore over there, the bay is right there. Used to go jogging.
So, do you have to make a motion to go into executive session?
I do, but before I do that, let me go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, while the group was here, about the meeting.
Sure, let's do it now. Maybe folks can,
Then we can go.
then I open it up. Folks who want to beat us up, and then we'll go into executive session.
Any day but Thursdays.
So the third Thursday, actually, in January, is the 16th. It's early.
Okay, I think I'm not available the 15th.
Do it at like 23rd.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Nice to meet you. I can't get in.
Oh, we're being filmed for posterity here.
Joe, is yours gonna work?
The 30th, the 16th is too early. We set it for the 23rd.
No, the meeting is the 16th. Well, if we're going with the third Thursday, it's early, January.
Want to do 23rd?
I don't remember which date I can't do it.
Why don't we say the 23rd, if you can't do it, then we do
Yeah.
it like we did this time.
Yeah, you would assume that the third Thursday is the 23rd, but it's
Yeah.
actually the 16th next month.
Oh, okay. So it's
Do you wanna do it the 30th?
Yeah, how about the 30th?
No, it's in February, you're gonna have a cemetery board. two weeks later.
Well, the other,
Well, February, I think February is also the early third Thursday, which I can do it. No, it's not, that's the second Thursday, I can't do that.
My only concern is what's in a month if something changes.
Snow to come out.
No, that's true. That's true. You know what? That's got a point. Yeah, maybe like the
no, I can't do the 30th.
20. like
What about the
20
22nd?
22nd?
22nd, I'm in Watertown.
21st?
I'm in Watertown 2 days.
I'm
21st,
sorry.
22nd.
23rd?
Which was
23rd is
you
okay.
can't do.
Oh, that's the one you can't do. 24th. So want to do Friday?
That's a
Does anybody
Friday.
care? I tell you what.
You do
Works
it.
for me.
Okay. Great. That's a wrap.
January 24th.
Sounds good. Okay. Now, I will open up the meeting. If anybody would like to address the board, you are more than welcome to do so. Anybody? Mr. Fleming, I always bat my eyes at Mr. Fleming, say.
Oh, well, thank you. I actually have something to say.
Okay.
Shocking.
As opposed to the usual?
Yes. Super silently, like I always do. Dave Fleming from the New York State Association of Cemeteries. I just want to say thank you for the statements earlier in the meeting about continuing to work together on proposed regulatory changes, if we can do them. On consent, we have almost a 20-year history of working with the division and the board, sitting around a table and agreeing to disagree or figuring out ways that we can agree. I think they've always been very productive and had very good products that come out of those meetings. And obviously, our preference is to come to some agreement with the division and the other players. Everyone's happy, or at least mostly happy. So, thank you for those comments, and certainly welcome the opportunity to do that.
That's great, thank you. And we look forward to getting a good rulemaking.
Happy holidays.
And happy holidays. That's right.
Thanks, Kenny.
Anybody else today? All right, then, I'll, motion to go into executive session for investigative and litigating matters. Is second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Let's take a couple minutes break. Super, all right. No motions, no votes, no executive session, so at this point, it's adjourned.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you all very much.